Alright guys, we're going to revisit this upper shed today in today's video. Alright guys, so this is nothing new. You guys have seen this upper shed. You have seen the videos I've done on it. I've done quite a few. Starting back last year, I did a video called Upper Shed Tour, and I've done some since. So a lot of you guys know the story on it. You know the what it looks like, what's inside, and the condition of it. Today I had an idea for a video. It's kind of a viewer requested video. So I want to try to make a video as best I can on the subject, and I think it was a good idea for a video. And I want to thank, I guess it was a YouTuber that goes by the name of Better Farms, and I don't see any videos. I don't think he posts anything, but he had asked me to do a video on what I would do or what changes would I make to the farm here if I owned it. So it got me thinking. It is a very interesting subject and a very interesting topic to talk about. Now, I do want to tread very lightly because my landlord watches my channel. Of course, he had found my videos. So I'm just going to put a few disclaimers in this short video here. For one, none of this is mine. I don't own any of this stuff. This isn't my building. This isn't my land. A lot of you guys know that. You've been following me long enough to know that I'm a tenant. But with that said, I think with every person, everybody that on a farm, everybody has different things that they would change, and I'd probably be no exception to that. So it's just going to be for entertainment value here on the internet for now. I'm not doing any of this stuff. And with that being said, I understand full well that it costs money to do a lot of this stuff, and that is a very common thing. And definitely on a down year like 2018 was for me, it is not the time to be doing any type of improvements or anything like that. So the disclaimer is basically going to read, for one, it's not mine anyway, so it doesn't matter. Disclaimer number two is it takes money, it takes time, it takes decades to make some changes, depending on how the markets are going and how things are going in agriculture. And like I say, 2018 was a terrible year, so it is not the year to be doing any type of home improvement projects, so to speak. So let's get into this. All right, let's get into this video, treading as lightly as I can, but still being entertaining. And like I say, this is just kind of some long-term thoughts, some long-term goals. If there were changes to be made here, it might be a little dark. All right, so up until, well, to this day, there's really no point in doing anything with this shed because in my case, as a tenant, in my case right now, I have no reason at all to do anything here or change anything here or rearrange anything here. I have done repairs to this shed. That door had blown in with a terrible windstorm. It had the wood cracked. It came loose from the building, and I saw that, and I came up here. I put some new wood in, reinforced the door, and put better hold downs for the door just to protect it. You'll see there is some tin here laying here yet. This section of the roof is still blown off from the windstorm that we had. It's leaking in a place that there's nothing there really that it can damage. This baler is far enough out of the way that it's just kind of leaking in there. That's a project that'll be addressed shortly here. But anyway, so when I say there's no reason for me to do anything, this shed here, this pole shed up on the hill is being rented out. This building, basically just this building, is being rented out by the guy that used to farm here and retired like in 2014 or so. He had this, that he pays rent every year on this upper shed. I am renting the buildings down below. All the facilities down below is what I rent. So we did it that way so I would have space to store my equipment. He basically gave me the choice where I wanted to have my equipment, and I chose down below just because it's bigger, and I knew that my equipment was not all going to fit in this shed. There's no way with what I have now I would get it all in here easily. And he didn't have that much to store here, so it made sense. So he's renting this. This is his equipment, his rent that he pays. So really there's nothing for me to do here. It's his stuff. It's his storage area. So, but anyway, I was wondering how big this building was, and I had guesstimated before. Today I brought the tape measure up just to see what the dimensions of this building are. So if anybody's wondering, it is 40 feet wide, almost exactly 40 feet wide, and it is 50 foot long, just about right on the mark. So it's a 40 by 50 pole barn. The ceiling height down there is about 13 feet, and you come up to here and it's about 8 feet. So that'll tell you how much this building is built on a slope here. So just I'm just imagining here, we're not doing any of this, like I said, just supposing that it was my building, what would I do? What would I change here on the farm? And let's get right into it. All right, so the first thing I'd probably do is contact this guy that has this equipment in here. Like I say, he hasn't been farming here since 2014. He has, on his farm, he has about 200 farm buildings. That might be an exaggeration, but he has quite a few buildings. And being that there isn't a whole lot up here anymore, I would probably ask him to take his equipment to his place. I know he had toyed around with selling it, but I don't think he wants to do that just yet. So, and I don't know how dark this is going to be, so I'll try to keep some light here. So anyway, that'd be step one. I'd probably contact him and ask him what he's doing, because I would probably want to do some work on the shed. So I'd try to get this shed empty. That'd be step one. As far as my plans here, step one, just get all the stuff out of here and have an empty, clean work slate to start with. There's some stuff in here I would have to clean up. There's a couple of old tires, there's some pieces of firewood, there's these old sleds that are pretty well deteriorated down to nothing, there's some wood that's sitting down in the ground and rotten, some barrels, just kind of miscellaneous stuff. I'd probably clean all that stuff out of here, get it all empty. Up top in the rafters, there's some scrap metal up there that's all in pretty bad shape, an old mattress spring. We've got some wood here that I'd probably pull down and take down to the barn to use down below. So that would be step one, get it empty, clean it right out so there's nothing in here. All right, so step two, once it was cleaned out, I'd probably get that door open down there, and I would come in here with my 395, and I have enough ceiling height, I think with even up there with that canopy and under there, I can basically get anywhere I need to in this shed with the 395 with the loader. And what I would start to do with the loader is start to grade this slope level. And when I say grade the slope level, I would come in and probably I would try to decide on a height that I'd want for the inside dimensions. Like I say, down there it is 13 feet. If I want to stick with that 13 feet, I would probably just get a long stick that goes up to the rafters, mark off 13 feet, and try to keep grading away. If I had trouble with my loader, if we had any type of big rocks, that guy who was a family friend of ours, like I say, he's got 3 backhoes, and he also has well, his son owns the cat crawler. Not that we're going to have a cat crawler here, but if he would come over with one of his backhoes and help me a little bit as far as the grading, I think with a 13-foot ceiling, he can maneuver in here and grade this down so that way the entire shed is no longer built on a slope. So the reason it's built on the slope is because of the water that comes through here. That would be phase 3. Once I have this shed graded to the 13-foot or 12-foot high ceiling, this ditch here has to be filled in so some of the dirt can go in there. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a ditch there that's about 1.5 feet deep. You can see where the water comes in from outside. Phase 3, let me talk about phase 3 real quick. And I would pay him to help me with his backhoe. He doesn't ever accept any money when I try to give it to him. He just rejects it, but I think I would just put it in his glove box and make him drive around with it. But anyway, phase 3, let me catch my breath first. Okay, so we have an empty building. We have it graded all the same height all the way through. Phase 3 is to come back here and dig a drainage ditch, some type of a drainage system. The problem is everything is sloped. The way the field is, it's coming this way, it's going this way, and it's coming this way. All the water, they couldn't have built this in the worst place, but they did it, so it's what you have to deal with. All the water funnels down to that spot right there. Right there's the low spot, and that's where it goes in the shed. So you can do 2 things here I have figured out. I still want a guy I'd still ask for some help figuring this out, but you can either put a berm behind this building and direct the water out that way where there is a ditch. There is a ditch dug. I hit it every year with the haybine to take water out and around and down, but it's not working anymore. It's all going in the shed because that is lower than where the ditch is. So I could put some dirt here, which it's not hard finding dirt on a farm. You can get dirt. So either build a berm and send it out that way. I can dig a trench and put some stone and drain pipe to that ditch, or dig just a trench, like a small belly type of drainage trench. Either way, something has to be done here to keep the water from running through this shed. I think it can be done. I don't think it's going to be very hard to figure out what to do, but once that's done, we'll have a shed that is empty, level, and no water running through. So that would be the plan. So all right, phase 4. All right, so phase 4, up until this point, I don't think we've spent a whole lot of money. It's just a lot of digging and cleaning up. So we haven't really spent a whole lot. So phase 4 is where we would have to start spending some money. And if we couldn't go this far, at least we have gone as far as we did. But let's say we have a good year, something happens, some miracle happens with the markets, whatever. Phase 4, so now you're going to have a shed that it's pretty well level with the ground. You see the tin doesn't quite go to the ground yet, but phase 4 would be I don't like aluminum roofs on roofs, just because of the constant leaking and the constant expansion and contraction. I know guys have said that they don't rot, they're great roofing materials. I like to use aluminum on sides of buildings. I don't like to use them on roofs. What I would do probably is take this roof right off of here and save all the aluminum, set it on a pile back here, get all the nail heads removed, and look into, this roof is not steep, this is not hard to work on. I would put on myself a new tin roof. This roof right now, in the condition that it is in, leaks terribly. There's so much daylight in there. It has been nailed and re-nailed hundreds of times. There's so many holes that have been filled in with caulking and that kind of stuff. This roof is, you could repair it, but it's not going to be a long-term repair. It's just going to come back to the same old thing. So I would remove this roof, stack up the aluminum here, order the sheets in one length, and I could get up there easily in like the late fall and put a brand new roof on both sides. So the tin or the aluminum that I took off will be recycled now for the sides, because I want the aluminum to go all the way to the ground, so that way you don't have this hole under the building. Why they didn't go to the ground, I don't know, but those sheets are longer. I can just replace the short sheets with long sheets and kind of piece it in that it looks nice all the way around. Basically from the sides to the front, we can get the aluminum all the way to the ground on this building. You see, they just kind of built the aluminum part flat, and the ground is like this. I don't know if they had planned to backfill it or what, but there it's going to cost some money to put a roof on myself this size. Just in materials, it may not be as expensive as you think. It's always the labor. When I did the barn roof over at my dad's, the labor was more than the materials, and for that size of roof that we did, I'm thinking I could get the materials for probably between $3,000 and $4,000 on the high end and do it myself. And in doing that, you've got a brand new roof on this pole building, and you'd have all that recycled for the sides, to fix the sides. So no buying any type of aluminum for the sides. So phase 5 or 6, wherever I'm at. All right, so phase 5 or 6, rolling right along here. We've got now the shed is cleaned out, the ground is level, the roof has been replaced, and the sides are tight, that the building is now solid and sealed up. Phase 5 or 6, like I said, I don't know where I'm at. I would get some 2B stone. This is dirt. I like to have the equipment on stone rather than dirt. It's just a little bit nicer. This, the ground can still, like right now, it's muddy. It can sweat and stuff. You get stone put down. A couple reasons I like stone, 2B to park equipment on. For one, it's a little bit nicer. Like I say, once it gets packed down real nice, you have a nice area to park equipment. For two, with a farm with all these barn cats, they like to dig holes and go to the bathroom. They use the dirt as a litter box. You're always stepping in cat manure, and not just cat manure, any type of rodent or animal that likes to dig in the dirt. So anyway, we'll get some 2B stone in here. 2B is not very expensive. Like I had said, we have a quarry that is within 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and for a ton what was it, 2.5 ton. For 2.5 ton I paid $24. So we are not going to go bankrupt putting stone in this floor. Easily can be done even on a down year. So once we get to that phase, we got a pretty nice shed here to work with, to store equipment in. That would be the goal. That would be the goal for this shed. Those are some of the things I would do if it were my building. Like I say, at the point right now, there is absolutely no reason to do anything. Like I say, I don't even really have a reason to come up here now. That Christmas tree wagon was the last thing in here that was mine. I brought it down there. I do use this hay elevator. You guys know that already. But again, it's not mine. So as far as structurally, everything else is pretty good on the building. A couple of other things to help make it last. This fascia here, the bees are drilling holes in it just so you never have to paint it and it doesn't rot. You put that aluminum fascia on there. That's something you can do. I did that on all the buildings over at the farm. But other than that, by the time you'd be done, you'd have a 40 by 50 shed here. No electricity, which is kind of something that could be done, but it wouldn't be in my near future. It would just kind of be a cold storage. The hay wagons would do wonderful up here if it would be level and you could get wagons. I could have 3 wagons in the back, 3 back in there. You'd have a space, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I would want to, I could put 9 hay wagons in here comfortably. Not that I have 9 hay wagons, but you get the point with the amount of storage you would have. Eventually, I'm going to run out of storage down below. It's tight already. I wouldn't need this shed just yet, but I'm just, like I say, we're just talking here, trying to make it entertaining. So a couple more things, just little things. Yeah. All right, so I don't know if it could be done, but this door here, I think I'd said it was like 12 or 13. I think it might be 13 feet wide by 12 foot high. What I would try to do is see if I couldn't maybe move a pole over a little bit. And I don't think that these front poles are structural. Anyway, move a pole over and cut away maybe right about there to make a wider door, and then rebuild this door so it's a little bit wider. Basically, when you open it, it would just go level with the shed. Right now, I think you have some room you could add on, just for the sake of if I ever do have my own combine, and it's not out of the realm of possibility, I could go in there with the combine heads widthwise instead of setting them on a header cart, and I could store them in this shed. It would be a great shed for doing stuff like that for. I'd probably try to make this door more modern with modern equipment, give it a modern width that you could go in with a 6-row corn head. I don't think that would be very difficult, especially if you were doing everything else to this shed. This side door I'd probably keep. There's not a whole lot you can do with it. And I'm not really sure yet how it would work if I was grading things off. Like I say, I can't get in that side door with very much. It would be some more excavating to make it more efficient. So a couple other things yet. All right, so it's a little bit darker now. You might be able to see. You see that little ditch there, right there. And that ditch comes down to here and goes along here. And it basically runs down, and down at the bottom there's a ditch to take it out that way. I don't know how that would work. Rain gutters are another thing, another option to try to control, at least to help control the flow of water. I don't know if you'd put rain spouting on, if that would help to divert the water in the direction that you'd want it to go. I'm not exactly sure. There is a ditch over there also that takes the water down. Like I say, they built this right in the middle of this hole in the field. Out there's a nice flat level rise. Again, we're just daydreaming, having fun here. If I would ever be in the position to build a brand new equipment shed and turn the barn back into cattle producing, and I needed a new shed, this is where it would be built, right next to this one. And this is a nice flat area here. I would probably get a new driveway and road up here instead of that treacherous winding thing through the woods. I just hire a bulldozer, or an excavator, and bulldoze a road up here that a tractor trailer could come up and turn around easily. Yeah, you'd lose some hay acres, but that would be an ideal spot. It's up, it's elevated. You could send the water through the rain gutters out that way, away from all of the farm buildings, and nothing would be down in the houses or anything. I always admired this nice flat rise here, which would have been a better location for a shed than this one, but hey, it's here. It's still in half decent shape. I know some guys might say just tear it down. I probably wouldn't do that. It's just too, it's still in, the poles are good, and that's 90% of it. If the poles and the trusses are in great shape, the rest can easily be fixed. Phase 9, 10, 11, this tree's got to get out of here. This stump, there used to be an enormous tree growing here, and when the loggers were here, they cut it off and took it out of here, and they left this stump behind. It was 3 years in a row I cut all these little saplings off of here because they're growing into the tin and pushing it up, and every year, this is like a year's worth of growth. Honestly, with all the rain we had this year, that is a year's worth of growth on these tree stumps here, and it's just taken over the shed. Again, when you had the guy here with the backhoe or the bulldozer, I think that stump's rotted enough we can break it off, rip it up. Same with, there's another one in the back there. Level this off and grade it. This is kind of no man's land here outside here. It's just sticker bushes. You can't mow along here. So get it cleaned up. Get it so you can mow the grass clean to the building and make it a little nicer. Light panels are a great idea. I think I would incorporate those into my roof design. Those are a little bit small, and you see one has been replaced, one has failed, and there was aluminum put back over it. I think we'd put light panels on both sides, maybe 4 of them. And it would really light this building up, not having any type of electric. It would be a nice light building that you could see what was happening in here. I probably talked long enough. This video is probably longer than I want it to be. Like I say, I think we'll do a little bit of a video series here. I need to tread lightly. Like I said, I don't want to say the wrong thing and get anybody mad at me, but like I say, just for the sake of YouTube, for the sake of entertainment, just to give you guys an insight into how I think and ideas I would have. Any questions you have on the shed, like I say, I probably answered them in past videos. So that would be my plans for this this old shed here. So like I say, I think it's worth saving. The poles are 90% of it. They're all solid. They're not rotted off, and the trusses are good. The shell of the building is in amazing shape. It just needs some work done to the tin, some excavating, some cleaning, and you could have a heck of a nice shed here on the farm. So all right guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I will see you guys maybe tomorrow.